So I told you several hours ago that when I design any session, and this session was slightly different, but still, when I design any session, the way I start by designing it, so any of you who are designing, whether it's a class or a training or even a meeting, the way that I do it is write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on a piece of paper. All right, so I'm going to share these 5 ingredients for me real quick, and I'm going to lay them out. I've got signs here. I'm going to lay them out. And as a review of what just happened in the last few hours, I'm just going to make like a couple notes about what each of these looked like as we went along. All right, it's going to be like a very abridged version, but I'm just going to give a couple notes. Here's your job. At the end, when I get to number 5, and I'll spread these out fairly wide, when I get to the end, I'm going to ask you to stand on the one you're most curious about, or you're like you don't quite get yet, or you're most interested in getting better at, okay? So your job after I get to 5 is to stand on the one that you're most curious about or need some help around, okay? So the first one is this idea that came from Mark Collard. Anybody ever gone onto Playmeo.com? Super cool site. Playmeo is the world's largest online database of collaborative experiential exercises. So you plug in like your group number and how long you're going to meet and what your goals are, and it pops back, here's 45 potential activities. Go watch video tutorial. It's amazing. So Mark is a good friend, and so the connection toolkit thing that we have comes with a free forever subscription to Playmeo, which is, I don't know, worth like $600 or something. So Playmeo.com, I'll write that down at some point. I see all of you like, oh. So he came with this idea, unofficial start. I'm sure somebody who's dead came up with it actually. But the concept is, typically we reward people for being late by waiting for them, right? So a meeting starts at 9. We're like, oh, Cindy's not here. Let's give her until 9:03. And everybody else just wasted 3 minutes. You've got 10 people in a meeting. You just wasted 30 minutes of human attention by waiting 3 minutes, right? So the idea of the unofficial start is, how are you going to begin immediately with purposeful, intentional engagement at 8:57 and run it into 9:03? And so as soon as you walked in, lovely team registering you said, hey, there's some name tags you got to fill out here, and choose a card that represents a future you want to create. So we had a little unofficial start. And then all of you, even though we are in the same room, in the same space, believe me, we were not in the same space. You had a very different morning. You've got different kids, family, traffic patterns, temperatures, health issues. We are not in the same context. And so the idea is that the second ingredient is, what is the one thing that you're going to say or do to, no matter what, put everybody in the same context? And I think group dynamics is really good at this, of just like getting into a game, like just boom, start, and everybody's in it. And everybody else is trying to catch up. So for me, I said immediately, nothing we do matters today. And so at that point, even if you were distracted and you had a chaotic morning and you considered not coming, you were like, huh? Nothing? Nothing we do matters today unless, and then, so that's the thing I said, and then the thing I did is, I said, think of something red, and now you're calling it out. It's very hard to be doing something else when a bunch of people are shouting red objects around you. And so just for that moment, we came together for one piece of shared context, right? So there's your context hook. Connection before content is this idea, right? Without, Peter Block said, without relatedness, no work can occur. And so getting in a connection before content, we did this experiment, this question swap, which I framed very intentionally as an experiment, not an activity. Some people love games and activities. Some unwilling people do not. And so I love using the word experiment. We're going to do an experiment right now in what happens when we change up our questions. So we did some connection before content. We debriefed that. And the fourth one for most of you is going to be 80 to 90% of your actual timeline, of your actual gathering. And that is content that's designed for contribution. So right now what I'm doing, and I did a fair amount of this today, admittedly. What I'm doing right now, I'm competing with Hulu and TikTok and Netflix and YouTube and other fun intramural soccer leagues that you're in, like things where you're actively contributing and doing. I'm competing with that when I'm talking. And yet it's like the lowest hanging fruit is just like, blast people, talk. So content that's designed for contribution throughout, hopefully you felt all the times that we got up and moved and did see it over here. I interjected as I was teaching content with things that involve some sort of participation, table share, etc. And then the last one, it's only 1:51. We have not closed yet. But the way that you end something greatly shapes how people will go into their next thing and how they'll remember your thing. And so oftentimes like a meeting ends in like a rush and like, I gotta get to the next one. And so they show up to the next meeting right in the beginning like this. They're all frazzled. And so closing is about being really deliberate about the way that you close. Believe it or not, I have a closing exercise that I would love to jump into that relates to that little box. So I'm going to put this down. Go ahead and just out of my curiosity, I'll spread these out a little bit more. Go ahead and stand on the one, I'm going to change the prompt a little bit. Stand on the one that you would like to get better at. That as far as your facilitator leadership, you would like to get better at this one. So really simply, I'd love to give you all a platform to end with your voice rather than mine. I've been monopolizing our time together, and so I'd love to end with your words rather than mine. And really simply, I'm going to invite you to make a closing statement about the time that we shared here today. So it could be about something you're wrestling with, you're excited about, you had an aha around, something you're still like, I don't know about that, right? Any closing statement that you want to make about our time together here. The only catch is that it must begin with one of these three phrases. I am, I believe, or I will. And you don't have to sing. It's called group anthem, but you don't have to sing. But the idea is no extra context framing, sharing about blah, 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 blah. You just, when you get the mic, you just say either I am, dot, 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 I believe, dot, 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 or I will, dot, dot, dot. As soon as you say your statement, toss it to somebody else, all right? My mom always taught me to end the party while it's still fun, so we're not gonna go through everybody. We'll go through a handful of statements, big handful of statements, and then we'll bring it back and stay and play, all right? So 5 seconds to think about your closing statement. It's just gotta begin with I am, I believe, or I will. Feel free to help the person throwing. If you've got something, definitely toss your hand up and they can look for you as they're throwing, all right? I'll start and then I'll look for one of your hands. I am really grateful for your attention. Your attendance just happened, but your attention was something you chose to give.
I'm happy that I volunteered because I got my workout in today.
I will be more intentional with my purpose.
I will talk less and ask more.
I believe experiential learning is extremely powerful and therapeutic for kids, people, everybody, and fun.
I believe today was a very good use of my time.
I am encouraged that there's so many people that have a love for people in this room and building connections.
I believe that connection with other people at my work is vital for mitigating any kind of risk to my company culture.
I am going to start my next meeting with an intention so that this meeting is going.
Behind you.
Yeah, I will endeavor to use the quick trust building exercise that we did about just looking at somebody and
than doing the one extra question.
I believe we all have a story, and everybody's story means something.
I am impressed everybody can catch.
Right here. And scene. What I'd love for you to do, typically we end a thing like this, that no matter what kind of experience you had, the polite and typical normal thing to do is to look at me and say, oh, thank you, and applause. But, oh, wait. But you didn't come here to just go do things the exact same way in the world. You came here to get a little bit better, a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser. And so I want to, just as a symbol of breaking that norm of doing this, what I'd love for you to do is, instead of clapping toward me, look around and find somebody that you connected with and give them a raging standing applause.